Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse today, Monday, August 19th, 2024. We're going to, today, sort of on the Trump docket, not really, as the DNC starts today, this afternoon. At Friday, there was a letter by the prosecutors of George Santos saying to extend the deadlines to respond to motions in limine and other things, and to schedule on an urgent basis a conference before Judge Sabert in the EDNY out in Central Islip. And yes, pleading guilty this afternoon. We'll be reporting on it. Now, the big question is, how much is he pleading to, and what are the guidelines? Of course, he won't necessarily get the guideline sentence, but this is a case where I don't expect it to go much below the guidelines. So it'll be interesting. I think that there'll be an announcement by the prosecutors and others, and so they're not embarrassed of it. So it should be a pretty substantial plea. But we're on top of that one, and we'll be definitely reporting on it. We can say that today, Robert Menendez, on the other side of the aisle, Robert Menendez's motions, if they are to be any, for a new trial, I believe they will be. They lawyered the heck out of that case, and so they're going to try to ask for a new trial. They tend to, and we'll report that as well. Today is the deadline, and tomorrow is the deadline for Mr. Menendez to decamp, and he's also wound down his non-existent independent campaign in New Jersey. So the end of an era, but there's still, the era ends, but the motions continue. Now, on Friday, there was I don't know if we did a separate vlog on it. There was a big civil decision here. After a 4-day hearing and about a 1-week lull, FuboTV won its injunction against the planned joint venture of Fox, Disney, and Warner that was to be known, initially it was called Raptor, but that was obviously seen as kind of predatory. They renamed it Venue, but it's not to be. It's been enjoined. Now, they'll probably appeal across the street, not the jail, but to the building that's round there. At the top of it is the Second Circuit and Court of Appeals, and we'll be covering that appeal if and when they file it. In smaller misdemeanor news, but of international import, one of the Senegalese activists that conducted a sort of a J6 echo incursion into the Senegalese General Consulate and Mission, was allowed to plead out to a misdemeanor. So we covered that, and you can find it. This then leads us to the United Nations. And amid all of the chaos, you'll be hearing a lot about Gaza during the week's event in Chicago, and there's a lot to be said about it. But where is Antonio Guterres, the supposed moral conscience of the universe, the Secretary General of the United Nations, totally corrupt and a censor, who's banned Inner City Press for most of his tenure, literally because he couldn't handle a question about his finances? Where is it he be found in these troubling times? Samoa and Tonga. On his way, of course, that's just a fig leaf. That's an environmental fig leaf for him to skedaddle into China and President Xi. He's going to visit his puppet master, and we'll be all over it. Inner City Press, we will not cease. But we're going in now to cover a sentencing in the Southern District of New York. To be continued, Inner City Press.